If you fail, it's 100% your fault. Let that sink in for a moment. I know it's hard to hear, but it's the truth. The sooner you come to grips with this reality, the sooner you can change your life. It's easy to blame circumstances, bad luck, or other people. But here's the harsh truth. The only person who holds the key to your success or failure is you. Right now, you might be feeling uncomfortable, maybe even defensive. That's okay. This isn't about making you feel bad. It's about making you realize the power you have to control your destiny. You see, the moment you take full responsibility for your failures is the moment you unlock the door to your potential. This isn't just about motivational fluff, it's about accountability. So let me ask you, why are you still holding on to your excuses? Why are you still blaming others? Blaming life circumstances or blaming fate? If you keep blaming, you're only chaining yourself to a life of frustration and stagnation. It's time to face the hard truth. Your failures have been in your hands all along. Are you ready to do something about it? Are you ready to stop pointing fingers and start taking responsibility for your actions? Because the only thing standing between where you are now and where you want to be is you. Let's get real for a second. When things go wrong in your life, who do you blame? The economy, your upbringing, your boss, your partner, your friends? Maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop pointing fingers and look at the one person who has the power to change things. You, I get it. It's easy to blame. It's easy to say, I didn't get that promotion because of my boss, or I didn't succeed because the economy's bad. But let me tell you something. Blame is a crutch. It's the thing that keeps you stuck in the same place year after year. You can't move forward if you're constantly looking backward, trying to find someone or something to blame for your struggles. You have to stop playing the victim. Every time you blame someone else, you're giving away your power. You're saying, I can't do anything about this. I'm helpless. And that's a lie. It's a lie you've told yourself for too long. And today you need to call it out for what it is. Excuses dressed as reasons. When you stop blaming others, you stop giving them control over your life. You regain your power, and that's when everything starts to change. But it won't happen unless you make the conscious decision to own your mistakes, your failures, and most importantly, your actions. If you're serious about success, you have to stop passing the blame and start taking responsibility. Here's where it gets good. Because when you take responsibility, you unlock a power that's been waiting for you all along. The truth is, every single one of us has experienced failure in some form. I know I have. In fact, I've failed more times than I care to admit. But you know what? Those failures didn't define me, they refined me. Let me tell you a story. There was a time when I felt like I couldn't catch a break. No matter how hard I worked, I seemed to hit wall after wall. And you know what I did? I blamed everything around me. I blamed the economy, I blamed my lack of connections, I blamed everyone but myself. But it wasn't until I hit rock bottom, until I realized that I was the one standing in my way, that things started to change. That moment was a turning point. It was the moment I took full responsibility for where I was and where I was headed. And let me tell you, when you finally own your failures, you regain control over your future. You stop being at the mercy of circumstances. You stop being a passive player in your own life. There's a solution to your struggles. It's not out there in the world, it's inside you. You have the power to fix it. But first you have to take responsibility for the parts of your life that aren't working. The good news is, once you do that, the power to change everything is in your hands. Now let's get to the real question. Are you ready to take control? This isn't just about listening to another motivational speech and feeling good for a few minutes. This is about action. This is about making a decision right now that you're done with the excuses, done with blaming others, done with living a life where you're constantly reacting to what happens around you instead of proactively creating your own destiny. Over the next few sections, we're going to dive deeper into how to take that control. We're going to break down the steps you need to take to shift your mindset and start taking action. But the first step, the most important one, is right here, right now. You have to make a decision. Are you ready to stop being your own obstacle? Are you ready to take responsibility and start building the life you've always wanted? The choice is yours. But know this, if you don't take responsibility now, you'll be stuck in the same place forever. It's time to decide, are you ready to fix this? If you fail, it's 100% your fault. There's no sugarcoating it. This is a harsh truth, but one you need to hear. We live in a world full of distractions, excuses, and endless blame. But here's the reality. The only person responsible for your failures is you. It's time to face that uncomfortable truth. You cannot blame your circumstances. your upbringing, or anyone else for where you are in life. Every failure, every setback is a result of your choices, your actions, or your inaction. It's time to take responsibility. Failure isn't the end of the road, it's the starting point. It's the moment you learn, grow, and rise again. If you want to succeed, you need to stop seeing failure as the enemy. Failure is a tool that can help you build something great. So why do we run from it? Why do we look for someone or something to blame when things go wrong? The answer is simple. It's easier to point fingers than it is to look in the mirror and face the truth. But if you want to change your life, if you want to rise to your highest potential, you must face that truth and take ownership of your mistakes. It's time to stop making excuses and stop blaming others. It's time to embrace responsibility, because here's the good news. When you take ownership of your failures, you gain the power to fix them. You have the power to change your future, starting today. Blame is easy. It's a comfort zone. It's like wrapping yourself in a warm, familiar blanket, pretending everything's someone else's fault. We've all been there. When things go wrong, we look for someone or something to blame. Our parents didn't support us enough. Our friends didn't believe in us. The economy was bad, or our boss didn't give us a chance. It's all easy to point to, isn't it? It gives us an excuse to stop trying, to quit before we even start. But let me tell you something. Blame is poison. It will keep you stuck. Blame will keep you comfortable in mediocrity, far away from the greatness you're capable of. Because when you blame, you give away your power. You're saying, I can't control my future. Someone else has that power. That's a lie. And if you keep feeding yourself that lie, you'll remain a prisoner of your own limitations. Now I want you to take a moment and reflect. Think about a time you failed. Who did you blame? What did you blame? Maybe you pointed the finger at bad luck or external factors. But here's the kicker. Every time you shift the blame, you shift the power away from yourself. You become a victim of your circumstances. And victims never win. It's time to stop blaming. It's time to take control. The moment you take ownership of your failures, you free yourself. You become the master of your own fate. It's scary, I know. It's uncomfortable. But only by taking responsibility can you change your life. When you take full responsibility for your actions, something incredible happens. You start to regain control of your life. No longer do you have to wait for someone else to come to your rescue. No longer do you have to rely on luck or circumstances. You and only you have the power to change your life. Taking control doesn't mean you won't fail. In fact, it means you'll fail more, but you'll fail forward. You'll fail with a purpose. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every setback an opportunity to grow. When you own your mistakes, you learn from them. You don't repeat them. You take the lesson and move on. That's how you break free from the chains that hold you back. And here's the thing. The moment you take control, you stop being a passenger in your own life. You become the driver. You decide where you go, how fast you go, and how hard you push yourself. There is no one else standing between you and your success. It's all in your hands. So I ask you, are you ready to take full responsibility? Are you ready to own your story, to control your actions, and to create the future you deserve? It's all within your reach. You just have to grab it. Now I want you to take a long, hard look at yourself. Are you ready to own your journey? Are you prepared to face the truth, take responsibility, and stop making excuses? This isn't a decision you can make lightly. It's a commitment to change, a commitment to growth, a commitment to no longer accept mediocrity. It's time to stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the hero of your own story. You have the power to shape your future, and it starts today. Will you make that decision now, or will you keep waiting for someone else to fix it for you? The power to change is in your hands. The question is, what are you going to do with it? If you fail, it's 100% your fault. There's no way around it. Life is a reflection of the decisions you make. You decide who you are, what you do, and where you're going. So if things aren't going the way you want, look in the mirror. The person you're seeing is the one responsible. Now that might sting a little, but trust me, this is the best truth you can face. Let me ask you something. Who's really in charge of your life? Is it the people around you? Is it your circumstances? Is it your past mistakes? No, it's you. You have the power. You are the driver of your life. Think about it. Life is like a car and you're behind the wheel. If you don't take control of that wheel, someone else will. Someone else will steer you in the direction they want you to go, not the direction you need to go. If you want to change your life, you have to own the steering wheel and stop letting other people or situations dictate your direction. Now, we often like to point fingers. It's easy to blame someone else, our parents, our bosses, our friends. They're the ones, right? They're the ones who hold us back, who don't understand us, who make things harder. But here's the reality. Nothing, no one, has more control over your life than you. Not your parents, not your boss, not your friends. You are the architect of your future. If your life isn't where you want it to be, don't look to others for the answer. Look at yourself and ask, what can I do to fix this? Look, I get it. It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming your environment. It's easy to say, if only things were different, I could be successful. But here's the hard truth. It's not about your environment. It's about how you react to it. You have the power to choose how you respond. You can either let circumstances control you, or you can take control and make them work for you. Now let me show you what real power looks like. Imagine your power like a battery. Every time you take control of your life, you're charging that battery. You're filling yourself with energy, with purpose, with momentum. But when you blame others, when you point fingers and feel sorry for yourself, you're draining that battery. And the more you drain it, the less power you have to change anything. The key is to stop wasting energy on blame and start using that energy to move forward. Recharge your power by taking responsibility. You want to be unstoppable? Start owning your choices. So ask yourself, are you going to keep draining your battery with blame, or are you ready to recharge it by taking control of your life? It's time to stop giving away your energy and start using it to fuel your success. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment to act. The moment is right now. It's all up to you. Let's shift your mindset. Instead of saying, I can't, let's say, I can and I will. What would change in your life if you truly believe that? What would happen if you stopped making excuses and started taking full responsibility for your success? The only thing standing between you and your goals is the story you tell yourself. The story of I can't will keep you stuck. But when you start telling yourself I can and I will, everything changes. You will begin to see new opportunities. You will take bold actions. You will move closer to the person you were always meant to be. I want to share a story about someone who made this exact shift. Think about Michael Jordan, who wasn't even good enough to make his high school basketball team. He could have blamed his coach, he could have blamed his genetics, he could have blamed anyone or anything. But instead, he took full responsibility for his journey. He worked harder than anyone else. And guess what? He went on to become one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He didn't wait for the world to change. He changed himself. That shift in mindset from I can't to I can and I will is everything. It's the first step towards unlocking your true potential. If you believe in yourself, you will find the strength to push through any obstacle. But that belief won't come from external validation. It comes from within. It's about saying to yourself, I will not let this defeat me. I will not give up. I will find a way. That is the power of personal responsibility. Discipline is another huge part of this. You can have all the potential in the world, but if you're not disciplined, none of it matters. Discipline is what turns your dreams into reality. It's what gets you out of bed when you don't feel like it. It's what keeps you working when the results aren't coming fast enough. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Without it, you'll stay stuck. I'm not talking about motivation. Motivation comes and goes, it's fleeting. Discipline, on the other hand, is consistent. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. You're not going to feel fired up all the time, and that's okay. But what will keep you going is the commitment to do what needs to be done, day after day, no matter how you feel. Think of it like a weightlifter. They don't get stronger because they lift heavy weights once a month. They get stronger because they show up at the gym every single day, consistently pushing their limits. Take someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's a prime example of discipline. He wakes up at 4 a.m. every day, works out, eats clean, and shows up for his goals. He's built his empire not on motivation, but on discipline. Every day, no excuses. You can do the same. You don't need to make huge leaps to see results. It's about showing up and doing the work, day after day. Success isn't about grand gestures. It's about the small actions you take consistently that will compound over time. And here's the thing, no matter how hard it might seem, you can start today, right now. Take one area of your life where you've been avoiding responsibility and take control. Whether it's your time, your health, or your finances, make a decision right now to take responsibility. Start with one small change, one small action, and build from there. You don't need to fix everything at once. Just make the decision to stop making excuses and start making better choices today. Excuses are like chains, heavy, invisible, and they hold you in place. Every time you make an excuse, you're locking yourself into a place of comfort, but comfort doesn't lead to success. It leads to stagnation. Think about it. What are the excuses you've been using to avoid taking action? How many times have you told yourself, I don't have time, or I'm not ready, or I can't afford it? These excuses aren't helping you. They're holding you back from greatness. What if I told you that your excuses are the only thing standing between you and the life you've dreamed of? It's time to break free from those chains. It's time to face the truth. You've been using excuses as a crutch. Excuses are nothing more than a form of self-deception. They're lies you tell yourself to avoid discomfort. They protect you from having to face the hard work, the sacrifices, the struggle that success demands. But here's the truth. You will never move forward if you keep making excuses. Are your excuses stronger than your desire to succeed? If they are, you need to make a choice right now to change that. Because if you don't, you'll stay stuck forever. If you want more, if you want something different, you have to break the chains. Every excuse you make is a delay in your progress. Every time you justify why you can't, you're choosing to stay stuck. How many dreams have you put on hold because of excuses? Think about it. How many opportunities have you missed because you convinced yourself that you weren't ready, or you didn't have enough time, or you didn't have enough resources? Every excuse is like a weight you carry, and the longer you carry that weight, the heavier it gets. It wears you down, drains your energy, and makes you believe that it's impossible to move forward. But let me tell you something, excuses are never going to make your life easier. They're never going to get you closer to where you want to be. The more you hold on to them, the more you allow them to control you. It's time to put the weight down and free yourself from the burden of excuses. The most common excuses people make, lack of time, lack of money, lack of skill, lack of opportunity, are nothing more than barriers in your mind. The difference between someone who succeeds and someone who fails isn't that one has no excuses. It's that the successful person decides to push through them. I've been there. I've had every excuse in the book. I've been too busy, too tired, too broke, too overwhelmed. But I made a decision. I wasn't going to let excuses define my future, and I'm challenging you to do the same. Which excuse are you hiding behind right now, and what's it costing you? Excuses won't change anything. Action changes everything. Now let's talk about how to stop making excuses. How do you turn those excuses into action? The first step is to acknowledge them for what they are, nothing more than mental barriers holding you back. If you say, I don't have enough time, then ask yourself, how much time did I waste last week? How many hours did I spend scrolling through social media, watching TV, or procrastinating? If you say, I don't have enough money, ask yourself, what could I sacrifice to make it happen? Stop telling yourself that you don't have time, money, or skill. Instead, ask yourself, what can I do right now to move forward? It's about taking that first step, even if it's small. Every time you turn an excuse into an action, you build a foundation for your success. You don't have to have everything figured out, but you do have to take that first step. Think of it this way. Every time you face an obstacle, instead of saying, I can't, say, how can I make this work? The path to success isn't about avoiding obstacles, it's about overcoming them. Every time you turn an excuse into a stepping stone, you grow. You get closer to where you want to be. Now here's a secret to staying on track: accountability. When you make a commitment, put it in writing. Make it real. There's power in writing down your goals, in telling someone else about your plans, in making your dream tangible. When you commit to something, it's no longer just an idea in your head. It becomes a contract with yourself. Who can you rely on to hold you accountable? Who in your life can you trust to remind you to stay true to your goals? It could be a friend, a mentor, a coach, or even a family member. But you need someone who's going to keep you honest and keep you moving forward. Think about how you can implement this today. Maybe you write down your goal. Maybe you set a check-in time with someone. Maybe you start using a planner to track your progress. Whatever it is, make it real. Put it on paper. Make it non-negotiable. The truth is, no one else can take responsibility for your success or failure except for you. At the end of the day, it's all on you. You can't blame your circumstances. You can't blame the people around you. The only person responsible for your future is you. So ask yourself, will you keep living with excuses, or will you take action and change your story? The choice is yours. Excuses are nothing but a shield you hide behind to avoid confronting the battle of growth. But the battlefield of success requires you to drop that shield and face the challenge head-on. Success isn't going to come to you. You have to go after it. Let's make a pact right now. No more excuses. You're the one who controls your destiny. It's time to take full ownership of your choices. No one else can do it for you. So are you ready to make today the day you break free from excuses and start moving forward? Let's do this. Success is not an event. It's a collection of small decisions made every single day. What you do every day matters more than that one big break you're hoping for. Let me tell you something. Success is not built on one lucky moment. It's built on consistent, intentional actions that you take every single day, even when no one is watching. The key to greatness doesn't lie in grand gestures, but in those small, seemingly insignificant choices that stack up over time. Imagine success as a garden. Every habit you cultivate is like a seed you plant. You don't plant a seed today and expect a full-grown tree tomorrow. It takes time, patience, and care. What you plant today will determine what grows tomorrow. So take a hard look at the habits you're cultivating right now. Are they leading you toward the success you desire, or are they holding you back? If you're planting weeds, don't be surprised when that's all that grows. It's time to evaluate what you're nurturing in your life. Change the habits and you change the future. Every single day, you should be doing something that moves you closer to your goals. It doesn't have to be monumental, but it must be intentional. The small actions you take are the seeds that will grow into your future. Every step you take in the direction of your dreams matters. Whether it's taking a few minutes to journal, blocking time to work on your goals, or making sure you stay on track with your commitments, these daily practices keep you accountable to yourself. Think about someone like Elon Musk. He's one of the most successful entrepreneurs of our time, but what sets him apart isn't just his ideas, it's his daily routine and discipline. He doesn't wait for inspiration to hit. Every day, he focuses on what's most important. He blocks time for each task, checks in on his goals, and holds himself accountable. How much more could you achieve if you simply committed to taking one small step toward your goal every day? Consistency is the secret. If you want to achieve anything meaningful in life, you have to be consistent. You can't expect to achieve greatness by showing up when it's convenient or when you feel motivated. Consistency is the difference between dreamers and achievers. Let me tell you something. A river doesn't carve through rock by force. It does it by persistence. It doesn't break through the hardest obstacles in one day. It does it drop by drop, over time. Your success is the same way. It's not about giant leaps. It's about showing up every day, no matter how small the progress seems. You don't need a miracle. What you need is to show up every single day, no matter how difficult it may seem. It's about the small actions you take every day that compound over time. What would happen if you made consistency your ally? If you committed to showing up, even on the days when you don't feel like it, even when the obstacles feel insurmountable, you'd get closer to your dreams, one small step at a time. Take the example of Michael Jordan. He didn't become the greatest basketball player in history because he was naturally gifted. No, it was his consistency. He practiced tirelessly. He showed up every day even when no one was watching. He understood that greatness wasn't about the occasional lucky moment. It was about the consistent, relentless pursuit of improvement. Now let's talk about breaking the bad habits that are holding you back. If you want new results, you have to be willing to break old patterns. The habits that are comfortable, those things you do without thinking, are often the ones that are stopping you from growing. Growth requires change, and change requires you to let go of what's familiar, even if it's uncomfortable. What's the cost of staying in your comfort zone? If you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting what you've always gotten. Are you willing to pay that price for the rest of your life? You deserve better than that. You deserve the success, the growth, and the fulfillment that comes from pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. So identify that one bad habit that's been holding you back and decide to let it go. Here's a simple framework. First, identify the habit that's standing in your way. Next, replace it with a positive one. Instead of hitting the snooze button every morning, start getting up 10 minutes earlier to set your intentions for the day. Finally, commit to this new habit daily. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but remember, change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and beautiful at the end. Now let's talk about accountability. Get around people who push you to be better than you were yesterday. Success is not a solo journey. You need people who will hold you accountable, challenge you, and help you grow. When you surround yourself with people who are pushing you to be your best, you elevate your own standards. Think about how successful people rely on mentors and accountability partners. They don't try to do it alone. They understand that having someone to hold you to your word, someone to remind you of your goals, is a key to staying on track. Who in your life can you turn to for accountability and mentorship? Who is pushing you to be your best self? If you don't have anyone like that, now is the time to find them. One person can only accomplish so much, but together we can create a flood of unstoppable progress. Don't try to go it alone. Find a mentor or an accountability partner who will help you stay focused, push you when you're tired, and remind you of your why when you lose sight of it. Finally, it all comes down to mindset. Your habits shape your future. Your daily actions, your consistency, your accountability, all of these things create the life you live. Master your habits, and you master your life. Are your daily actions reinforcing the life you want, or are they keeping you stuck in the same place? If you're not happy with your current results, it's time to look at your habits. Your habits are the scaffolding that holds up your future success. Build them strong and you'll rise to greater heights. Today is the day you make a commitment to change. Start by evaluating your habits and identifying just one small change you can make right now. Commit to it, master it, and watch how it transforms your future. Because when you master your habits, you master your life. The power to change is within you. Now it's time to take action. The road to mastery, it's about the journey, not the destination. Let me tell you something right now. Mastery is not about reaching a final destination, it's about the journey. Too often, we get caught up in thinking that success is a one-time event, a place we'll arrive at and suddenly everything will be perfect. But success is a journey, a continual process of growth, learning, and improvement. The moment you stop evolving, you stop progressing. And let me remind you, mastery is not born out of perfection, but through the relentless commitment to constant improvement. Are you focusing on the journey, or are you stuck in the idea of an elusive final destination? Think about it. When you look at your goals, are you obsessed with getting there, or are you embracing the steps it takes to grow along the way? Success isn't about hitting a single finish line, it's more like running a marathon. The road to success is long. It's filled with challenges and obstacles, and it's often exhausting. But the more you push yourself forward, the closer you get to where you want to be. The race doesn't end just because you reach one milestone. It only pushes you toward the next. The key is to keep moving, to keep improving, and to find fulfillment in every step. Mastery is not a destination, it's the journey. And that journey will only end when you choose to stop growing. Let's be real here. No one gets anywhere without facing some serious challenges. We all have setbacks. We all experience failure. But here's the thing, every setback is a setup for your comeback. The struggles you face, the moments that seem like they'll break you, are the very things that will elevate you to the next level. The challenges you're trying to avoid right now, they might be the exact thing you need to push you toward greatness. How many opportunities have you missed by avoiding challenges? Think about it for a second. What if the very challenges you're afraid of are the key to unlocking your next breakthrough? What if facing the storm is exactly what will sharpen your skills and give you the resilience you need to thrive? A sailor doesn't learn how to navigate a storm by sailing in calm seas. A sailor's true skill is developed in the rough waters. Similarly, your challenges are like the storm that teaches you how to steer your ship. They're uncomfortable, they test your limits, but they are exactly what you need to become stronger, smarter, and more capable. So stop running from the hard things. Embrace them, seek them out. The struggle isn't there to stop you. It's there to shape you into who you're meant to become. If you want to grow, you need to build your resilience. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you build like a muscle. The more adversity you face, the stronger you become. You can't run from challenges and expect to become unstoppable. No. You have to face them head on and push through. Just like lifting weights breaks down your muscles so they grow back stronger, facing adversity builds your mental toughness. The obstacles you face today are the very things that will make you unbreakable tomorrow. Every time you push through difficulty, every time you refuse to quit when it would be easier to give up, you're getting stronger. You're becoming someone who doesn't just survive, but thrives under pressure. How much stronger will you be on the other side of this challenge if you just push through? Think about the athletes who've overcome injury, or the entrepreneurs who've bounced back from bankruptcy. They didn't become resilient by avoiding setbacks. They became resilient by facing them, by pushing through the pain, and by refusing to quit. That's how they became unstoppable, and you can do the same. Let me tell you something important. Success is a marathon, not a sprint. Your journey toward mastery doesn't end when you hit a certain level of success. The moment you stop learning is the moment you stop growing. There is always more to learn. The most successful people in the world understand this. They don't rest on their laurels. They keep pushing. They keep seeking out new knowledge, new skills, new ways to improve. Are you willing to keep learning, even when you've reached a certain level of success? Or will you plateau, thinking you've made it, and miss out on your next breakthrough? Don't get comfortable. Success isn't about a one-time achievement. It's about continually evolving, refining, and growing. Think of learning as a furnace. The fire of learning burns continuously. If you want to keep it alive, you need to feed it. You have to keep learning, keep improving, and never get complacent. If you think you've figured it all out, think again. There's always something more you can learn. Read more, listen to podcasts, attend workshops, and seek out mentors. The moment you stop feeding the fire is the moment it starts to die. Here's the final truth I want you to hear. Mastery isn't a destination, it's a journey with no finish line. There is always room to grow, evolve, and push boundaries. Every single day is an opportunity to get better. Don't wait for some big moment where you think I've arrived. There's always another peak to climb. Imagine climbing a mountain. You might reach one peak, but as soon as you get there, another one looms ahead. The climb never stops, it only gets more rewarding the higher you go. The beauty of the journey is that it's never over. Each step forward is a victory, and each challenge conquered is another lesson learned. So what's the next peak you're aiming for? What's the next challenge you're going to take on, and what are you willing to do to get there? Don't look for an end to the journey. Instead, embrace the pursuit. Embrace the relentless need to improve. There's no finish line because growth is infinite. The pursuit of mastery isn't about reaching a certain level and stopping. It's about consistently raising the bar and seeing how far you can go. And that, my friends, is what makes the journey so incredible. If you fail, it's 100% your fault. Let me repeat that. If you fail, it's 100% your fault. But here's the great news. You have the power to change it. You have the ability to take full control over your life and your future. You are the one who determines whether you win or lose. Success is a reflection of the choices you make every single day, and those choices are in your hands. Now, before you start pointing fingers at your circumstances, your environment, or even the people around you, let me remind you that nobody can dictate your future but you. The moment you accept that truth, you unlock a whole new level of power. No more blaming others. No more waiting for the perfect time. No more excuses. This is your life, and you're the one in charge. Ask yourself, what's holding you back from taking full ownership of your success? Are you waiting for the stars to align? Are you waiting for someone else to make the first move? The reality is, the longer you delay, the more time you waste, and the more chances you miss. The power to change your life right now is in your hands. You control your destiny. Make the decision today. No more excuses. Take responsibility, take action, and change your life. Now, this is the moment. There's no more waiting around, no more procrastination. You've spent enough time making excuses, convincing yourself that tomorrow will be the day you start, that one day you'll get your act together. That day is today, not tomorrow, not next week, not when everything is perfect. Today, procrastination is like a weight, dragging you down, making everything harder. Each excuse you make is another chain you lock around your future. But here's the thing, those chains are self-imposed. You can break free at any moment. The decision to move forward is completely up to you. You don't have to wait for permission, and you don't have to wait for things to be perfect. You have everything you need right now to take that first step. How many more days will you let pass without taking responsibility and acting? How many more chances will you let slip by before you realize that the only person holding you back is you? This is your moment to decide. No more excuses. It's time to take ownership. It's time to take control, and it's time to change your life.